In this video, we're going to take a look at how markets function and what their purpose is in Broker Brain. When you signed up for your original Broker Brain account, a market was created by default in the system for you based on the geographic region that you specified when signing up for your account. Now, in the event that you are working out of a single office with one staff, it is recommended that you do not add additional markets to your system. This is designed for brokerage offices that are working, or brokerage firms that have different offices in different geographic locations, maybe in the same state, maybe in different states, and it helps them to delineate the functions that go on between the two offices. So if you're working in a single metro market or a single state, and all of your functions for your office operations are done out of one particular office, then I would recommend leaving the system set up for a single market. And in that case, you can probably skip over this video and go on to the next. But in the case that you are a firm that has multiple offices, I'm going to go through this market video and kind of explain how they work within Broker Brain. So basically, you're going to create a market for every office that you run within your company, and we'll go through a couple different places within the system that the markets have an impact over and how it works within your system. Now, in the upper right hand corner, you're going to see right here that we have currently selected the Phoenix Metro market. And that means what I'm doing in the admin tab, or what I'm doing in the properties tab, or the tasks tab, is going to show me information based on the market that I have selected. So the first thing I want to do is go back to the users administrative tab and explain what the super user checkbox will do for a given user. The only person in the system that has the ability to specify a user as a super user is the person who signed up for the Broker Brain account. Regardless of administrative privileges, no other user will be able to define super users within the system. So this is reserved to the first person who signed up for the Broker Brain account. And basically what a super user does is, when you are in the admin tab of the system, it allows you to see and manipulate information in any market, regardless of what the market selector says in the upper right hand corner. So because I was the first user entered into the system, I am by default a super user, and I can define other users within my system that can act as super users and administrate across multiple markets. So that's what the super user flag does. So now let's move on to some different areas that have market designations within the system. The first one we're going to look at is the vendors tab, and you'll see that we have one vendor in the system currently, and it's assigned to the Phoenix Metro market. Now, because I am a super user, I have the ability to move this vendor into other markets. But if I am not a super user, then I am going to be manipulating the admin tab based on my market selected at the top. So in this case, we have Bob's Repair set to the Phoenix Metro market. That means that any property that is in the Phoenix Metro market, when I go to that property and enter a preservation bid, I can only pick from companies that are assigned to the same market that the property is in. And if we had say a California market or a New York market, properties in the New York market will see vendors that are assigned to the New York market, and properties in the Phoenix market would see vendors that are assigned to the Phoenix market. Now, we also have what's considered a global market under the utilities and vendors section, and that allows us to define vendors or utility companies that may work or operate in both of the markets that we manage. So if you have a vendor that has multiple office locations in both cities, and the contact information is the same, and you use the same vendor or the same utility company in both markets, you can assign them to a global market, and anything in a global market will show up on any property that you populate within the system. So when I go to add a new vendor, basic information here, and you'll see at the bottom I can select what market I would like this vendor to be assigned to, the global market or the Phoenix Metro market. And again, I can make that designation here because I'm a super user. If I was not a super user, then I would only be able to add a new vendor to the market that I have selected in the upper right hand corner, and in this case it would be the Phoenix Metro market, and by default that's where that vendor would fall. So that's kind of how that works with the vendors. It is the same in terms of how it works with the utilities. When I go to add a new utility, because I'm a super user, I can designate whether it's going to be a global utility or assigned to the Phoenix Metro market. Users are given access to markets by placing them in groups that are assigned to the market you want them to have access to. For example, we're looking at the admin team, which is assigned to the Phoenix Metro market. Therefore, Glenn and Denise have access to that particular market. So each individual user's market selector in the upper right hand corner of the system will be controlled by the groups that they are a member of and which market those groups are assigned to. So this is how you create user access to different markets. And you could have one group that has, very liberal or lots of access to one market, but very restricted access to a different market. And as they switch back and forth between the different markets, their access level will change based on what they have selected.